cartoon commentary is not intended for children. Tom, Keith, and Cory are usually wrong, and anything they say can and probably will offend you. Apologies in advance. Commence the podcast.
Cartoon commentary.
Okay, Dragon's Lair, Season 1, Episode 1, take... Well, we only take one take. Take one. We're recording.
Take one.
What's up, Internet? Welcome to Cartoon Commentary, a podcast where three knights in their 30s talk about old, new, and sometimes obscure cartoons. I'm Cory, the cunning Zamir.
I'm Sir Thomas of Connell.
I'm Keith, probably the jester that doesn't know it, Barnofsky.
Yeah. That
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah,
You actually kind of look like Sir. What's the guy's name in this?
Oh,
The rival.
Blunt.
I have it written
Blunt.
down.
Blunt. Yeah.
Blunt.
Yeah.
Yep.
You kind of look like him.
Kind of look like him.
Yeah.
Hubert Blunt. I wrote his name so many times today that I for some reason I can't remember it. But
Yeah.
today we're talking about Dragon's Lair, Episode 1. The Tale of the Enchanted Gift. Have you guys, either of you, heard about Dragon's Lair before I offered this
No.
up for an episode?
I did not know about the cartoon, but I knew about the game, and I've played the game.
So, did you play the arcade game back in the day?
Yes. I think the bowling alley had it when we were really, really little.
Oh, that sounds vaguely familiar. I was going to say, I don't think that I ever...
This is not one you'd forget if you saw it.
Yeah, it was a really, really cool... I remember it being really different from all other arcade games because it was animated.
Yeah.
It was like playing a cartoon versus, playing a video game. It just felt different back then.
Yeah, it was very specifically just playing a cartoon. It was animated by Don Bluth and his company, and it was basically QuickTime events over and 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 over again.
Yeah.
To the point where they would just be grinding quarters out of you for the sake of memorization. Because if I remember correctly, and I never actually played it at the arcade, but in some of the research I did, I heard that it was actually a 2-quarter game. So every time you played it, you had to chuck 50 cents in there.
Jeez.
Damn. I don't remember, but yeah.
And your run could probably be over in less than a minute.
Oof. Man. Imagine playing that back then when quarters were... I remember, like, when I was a kid, or I should say when we were a kid, 30 years ago, quarters were kind of a big deal.
When we were a kid.
Yeah, when we were a kid.
We were all just one kid.
When we were one kid.
Before we developed into individual beings.
Yep, before we split.
Yeah. What's that? Mitosis?
Yeah. Glad I
think
finally
so.
have my own dick.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really awkward when we had to share.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to go into that.
It's because we made Keith wipe.
No, because it's... Well, no, we each had our own butthole, though. That was the weirdest part, is that we all had our own
Yeah,
butthole.
and you had to wipe all three.
But we had to share.
Yeah.
We had to share the same dick, and it was just a merciless beating.
Skeet. Wow.
Middle school was awkward.
Yeah. It was especially awkward because I think we went to different middle schools.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that complicates it.
That was really, really awkward.
Okay, you get the dick today, and I get the dick after school, and then you get the dick at nighttime.
Oh God, so many sound clips to use in the future.
That's gonna go on a T-shirt.
Just remember, no matter who has the dick, there's no fucking on the beach.
Goddamn right. Gotta obey those signs.
Yep. No fucking on the
Yeah,
beach.
so the thing with Dragon's Lair, I actually only learned that it had a cartoon a couple days ago. Like, I just never assumed. I mean, the thing came out in 1984, 2 years before we were born. I'm assuming we were all born in the same year.
Mm-hmm.
I was watching. I was binge watching a YouTube channel called Toy Galaxy, and they just go over so many different properties and like the history of them. And I've just been, while I'm working, I'll click on another video, and came to one on Dragon's Lair, and I was just like, oh, cool. I always liked that Don Bluth art style. And, I grew up with Space Ace for the Super Nintendo, so I was familiar with it from that. And at the end of the video, he gets to, like, oh, and it also had a 13-episode animated series that was put together by Ruby Spears Productions. And I was just like, wait, what? So I immediately rushed over to see if it was available to watch on YouTube, because one of the issues I've been having with picking my episodes and cartoons to review, I can't find them in a place where we could all watch them right now.
Yeah.
So I was happy to see that you can watch the entire series on YouTube. You just have to click on the right link, because a lot of the links that we were looking at were like, oh, here's this thing super zoomed in, or like from an awkward angle, like as if it's on a projector screen or something like that.
Yeah, I've seen
Yeah.
that stuff. Plus, I've seen like, oh, like here's episode 1, but like we split it into like 4 different videos, and it's like, well,
Yeah.
that's a pain.
Well, I mean, YouTube used to make people jump through a lot of hoops to put up stuff that would usually get pulled down. So
Yeah, copyrighted. They have,
I
I
mean,
think,
and
they have pretty sophisticated software that like can detect
Yeah.
copywritten stuff. So like, it's not
yeah,
even like
and even stuff that's not copyrighted, you can get in trouble for too, as I've learned.
well, there's only so many times you can talk about sharing the same dick before YouTube goes, this video has exceeded the dick quotient.
That old dick quotient.
No, that's a different kind of strike, Keith.
No, YouTube actually directly takes the video and uploads it to Pornhub for you.
Yeah, they're just like, well, you said dick like 150 times in the first 3 minutes of your video, so
Yeah, it's kind of weird
we're
though,
gonna
because
have to
it works the
get this
opposite
over to where
way.
it's supposed to go.
If you upload a video to Pornhub and you don't say the word dick enough, they actually automatically upload it to YouTube.
So is it just like each individual, like it has to be dick, or like could it be another word for it?
Well, there's
I feel
many
like-
words.
Okay, all right,
Yeah.
just checking.
And it would explain
For
why there's
future
so
use.
many lesbian porn videos on YouTube.
Yeah, they just don't
Cory-
talk about it enough.
See, Cory got it.
Yeah, so Dragon's Lair. This will be
So
a weird review of Dragon's Lair. A dick-laden review of Dragon's Lair.
Because you're just really trying to not get into like the. So what's everybody's flavor? Never mind. Let's talk about Dragon's Lair.
Yeah, Dragon's
not
Lair is
that
an
show.
animated series by Ruby Spears Production based on the 1983 video game of the same name. 13 episodes were made and aired well before we were born, which would help explain why I had never heard of it back in the day. And I'm only like 5 days into knowing what it is now as far as a cartoon series. Ruby Spears Productions, they actually produced a few other shows of note. Thundar the Barbarian, the 1983 Alvin and the Chipmunks,
Okay.
Mr. T.
All right.
Cool.
A few of these are definitely getting added to the list for like
Yeah.
stuff we need to watch in the future because I've never heard of this next one as far as being a cartoon show. Rubric, The Amazing Cube.
Is it
Yeah, they made a
It's about a-
Rubric's Cube
is it
cartoon.
is it a sentient Rubik's Cube?
Yeah, from what I can tell, yes.
That's kind of, I mean, does he
Yes.
just solve himself?
I don't know. That's why we're gonna have to watch it eventually.
I'm confused.
Oh.
Sectors, which I'm not very familiar with, but I've heard on a lot of toy channels. Sectors. The Centurions.
I don't mean
up?
to interrupt. I made the mistake of Googling that rubric, and I'm gonna have a nightmares of what it looks like.
Oh no.
Yeah.
That is creepy as hell. It's like a cross between. It's like they were trying to mishmash a blue baby, into a Rubik's cube. It's really it's horrific.
Nice.
Sorry.
That's all right. The Centurions, which I've not watched or heard of. Police Academy, which I remember, and I actually had some
Yeah.
toys from.
Yeah.
And finally, and one that I can't believe I didn't have on my list already, Mega Man.
Oh wow.
They made the Mega Man cartoon, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I mean, so I guess Dragon's Lair was probably like the odd show out that they made.
Well, no, there were some other shows that I just left off the list because
okay.
I was just like, no one's fucking heard
Other-
of these
other
like,
little
kind of things.
Other little turd
Like I
pieces.
just mentioned the ones that sounded interesting and ones that I've heard people talk about. Like Sectors, I don't know what that is. I'm assuming it was some toy brand that got a cartoon because
I honestly
that's
thought
how it
you
had
said.
to work back in the day.
I honestly thought you said sex stores the first time, and I was just like, "Are we going right back to the porn thing?" Because this is a real quick circle that we just drew there.
It comes in waves. Just gotta ride the wave, Keith.
Oh.
Hey listeners, Cory here, real quick to see if you can help us out and grow the podcast by leaving a 5-star rating on iTunes. Also, if you enjoy the show, wouldn't it be great to share it with friends and family? Just a suggestion.
Today's episode opens in the lovely kingdom ruled by King Ethelred. Everyone is putting their best foot forward because it is about to be Princess Daphne's birthday. One thing I noticed, actually, I forgot to double check this. Tom, do you remember, because you've actually seen and played some of the game, did they change the appearance of Princess Daphne for this cartoon?
I think they toned it down or made it a little more kid friendly because I remember
Yeah, 'cause
her
she was a little,
being more
she was a little
scantily
over the
clad.
top. Yeah.
Yeah, and I remember as a kid thinking that princess is sexy as hell.
Yeah.
Some people would have said maybe she was just like a whore.
It's funny
Whoa.
you say that
Whoa.
the same way I was going to say it.
That's
We really did share the same body for all those years. It's
yeah,
weird.
you know.
More proof.
It's the classy way to say it.
Hooer.
Wow.
Yeah, because after I watched the episode, I went back and I was just like, well, let's see if there's a complete playthrough of the original Dragon's Lair arcade game, and it only takes like 12 minutes. Because it's literally just a bunch. One thing I noticed is they basically just have you do a whole bunch of like QuickTime events, like in certain trapped areas, and then eventually they kind of like flip it and mirror the screen. So it's literally just reusing all the same assets. His sword is no longer on his left side; it's on his right side, kind of thing. So they like extended the game to get more quarters out of you by just like flipping things around on you.
I feel
So it
like
was kind of interesting to see.
I feel like that's basically the equivalent of like I'm out of clean laundry, so I'm gonna wear yesterday's underwear, but I'm gonna flip it inside out.
Yes, exactly.
Like that's the equivalent of what that is.
Yeah.
Well, the thing
Yeah.
is, back then you really needed to make things as cheaply as possible to
Yeah,
make as much profit because nothing was. It wasn't, today's day and age where like video games are made on $1 million budgets and stuff like that.
but like
Uh,
back in the days of arcades though, I remember going to arcades and waiting in a line to play a game. Like and people were just sinking quarters into those games. Like back in the day when arcades were a thing, like that kind of arcade game made for that arcade hundreds of thousands of dollars on like that single game, I swear. Like over the lifetime of the arcade.
well, yeah, but the people that make the arcade uh, only make whatever they sold it to the arcade owner for.
Oh, that's
Right.
true.
So
That's
like
Right.
very true.
if their game is popular, it only helps them get their foot in the door of the
Oh
arcade.
man,
It doesn't really
Yeah.
help them make
they
money. It's not like it's on commission.
yo, they fucked up that business model. You know what they
A little
should
bit.
do? The
Should have been
arcade
like a 50-50 split.
well, the arcade,
Yes.
not even. The arcade games should have been like, here's what the model costs up front, so that way I sell it and I make some profit. And because obviously the machine can tell how many quarters go into it, you need to pay me 5 or 10% of all the quarters that go through that machine. And I know how many go through the machine because the machine keeps count. Done. Like, these arcade making like companies could have actually made so much more money, and the arcades themselves still would have had plenty of profit.
And now they're going out of business.
Yeah, so it wouldn't have
Yeah.
worked out regardless. So.
Well, at the time they would have been better off. Well, this is the thing though. Think about it. Are arcades going out of business because people truly lost interest in arcades, or is it the fact that companies that made arcade machines stopped making bigger and better and more awesome ones because it was getting way too expensive and they weren't making enough money?
I'd say it's more the availability of home and handheld consoles.
And
That
COVID.
Well,
kind of,
that and
yeah.
well,
Well, yeah.
you also have to factor in the thing that was really big with people going to arcades back in the day was, and I feel like our generation kind of missed out on this a little bit. But people that are older than us, like in their 40s, that play games, they're
Mm.
often talking about how the arcades just had like the best versions of everything. But we grew up in a world where Street Fighter 2 on Super Nintendo was a thing for like the majority of our lives. And that was like one of the first like near arcade perfect ports to a home console.
True.
So
Mm.
for a while, it's kind of like the gap between arcades and home consoles were kind of like the gaps that we'd probably more commonly know as like the high-end gaming computers versus the current consoles out there, where it's just like you're gonna get the best version on this, and like this would be arcades or this would be the PC.
Well, I think that's part of the problem though, is that like there were games that bridged the gap where they were on arcade and then they were on console. Like arcade games needed to keep their games solely on arcade and keep that proprietary in order to keep the market share and stay in business. But they didn't because they realized the companies that made the games realized they could make more money selling millions of individual copies of the software to people because they had home game systems. So I guess that's why they never went the subscription or commission route with the per quarter scalping, because it was ultimately just more profitable to make the same game and then just sell the software to a bunch of people that had a system already.
Well, yeah, because if a company is making Pac-Man, they're not going to make as much money selling it just as an arcade game if they could port it to every console that could support it.
Yeah.
So
That's totally the thing
because
is,
like none of these companies had any interest in like, oh, we need to keep the arcades alive. They were just looking to keep their business alive.
Oh yeah, which
Right.
like now that
So-
we've talked it through, makes total sense. I just am kind of sad that arcades are not really like a thing anymore. Like there's some dying ones. There's also some newer ones. There's like Dave and Buster's, right? Like there's arcade chains that are I don't know. I don't know if they're thriving right now, but they're existing. So it's out there. They just don't like. I've been to a Dave and Buster's like when they opened the one in Manchester. I don't know, a couple of years ago. I went and I was just not. I don't know, not overly impressed by it, and it was super expensive. And you don't get to use quarters anymore. You have to put money on a card and then swipe the card, and everything costs points. But like, it's like you have to understand the ratio of to how many dollars you spent to how many points you got, and then how many points the game costed. Like they purposely make it convoluted so you'll accidentally spend too much money.
Yeah, you'll spend more than you really wanted to play that game.
Yeah, but like to me, it's just like if you're gonna do an arcade, like give me the fucking quarters. Like I want the experience.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to be swindled with a one-time use card that I put $20 on and didn't realize the game cost $4 to play.
Well, no, there's like dedicated, like gigantic arcades, like Fun Spot up in New Hampshire, that are like really, really good. Although I would say a little bit disappointing just because it didn't have a couple of the arcades I really wanted to play. But they still exist, but they have to be like you have to basically go up and over people's expectations
Yeah.
at this point
Yeah.
Mm.
Well,
because you can't just be a hole in the wall arcade anymore.
Oh,
You have to be
exactly.
like, oh, we're the third biggest arcade in the world, kind of, stuff
That's
like that.
true.
You have
They-
to have
they-
a gimmick.
Yeah, they grabbed up all the machines of all the arcades in the surrounding states that like went out of business. That like in my book, I actually have a very low bar for this though. You have to have the X-Men arcade game, the Simpsons arcade game, and the Ninja Turtles arcade game. If you have those 3 games in your arcade, preferably side by side because that would be fantastic, I will stay there all day. And well,
Yeah, the
and beer.
unfortunate thing
You have to have
is
beer.
that was the unfortunate thing for me with Fun Spot is they didn't have any of those.
Oh, that's garbage. The whole place
Yeah.
should be burned
They
to the
had
ground.
they had Turtles too. Not Turtles in Time. They had Captain America and the Avengers.
Yeah, okay.
And then they had a bunch of like old like arcade games that were like on the NES, like, Donkey Kong Jr.,
yeah, like Bubble Bobble.
Donkey Kong 3, stuff like that that you can pretty much play in similar ways on handhelds and consoles by now. So it wasn't like that big of a deal for me. Like the main games I was looking for just weren't there.
Yeah, that's
But
that's what you need. Those you need those like the staples. I mean, some of those like you got to realize like Donkey Kong is a staple for a generation above us.
yes.
But like for our
Yeah.
generation, if you don't have turtles, the right turtles, if you don't have the Simpsons, I'm sorry, I get it. Like the Simpsons was not really a game; it was a TV show that they made an arcade game. That arcade game was awesome.
That is an awesome game. I loved how you could play with multiple people and do special moves like team up moves.
Yeah,
Where and Lisa and Bart had a different team up move than like Homer and Bart. Like Homer would put one of them on his shoulders, and like Marge and Homer would do this thing where they'd like grab I think they would grab like each other's ankles and form like this circle, and they would just spin across the screen.
yep.
Yeah,
That
I don't know.
game It was
That game
awesome.
was cool. Yeah.
Yeah,
But-
there's
Yeah.
definitely not enough ways to play that game nowadays. One thing I would say about the X-Men arcade and how you had it as part of that list, the arcade that opened up that we were supposed to go check out that everybody else bitched out on has that.
Really?
Which one?
The one by Dylan's.
Oh, really?
Oh,
the
no way.
I forgot the name of it, so I can't give him a shout out. But
Gamecraft.
yeah, I went there with my wife.
I have a gift card to that place.
The unfortunate thing about that game when you actually have played it on like Xbox Live and you don't have to keep pumping quarters into it is you realize that it's not that good of an actual game because they designed it so you specifically just keep dying so you
Oh
pump
yeah.
more quarters into
Oh
it
yeah, it's super hard.
because you're playing as X-Men and you lose health every time you use your power.
Oh yeah.
So
Oh
you're
wow.
like the correct quote unquote way to play through the game would be to just punch and kick. And then if too many enemies are on screen, you do the Colossus power up thing or, whoever you're being.
And let's be
And it
honest.
takes some of your health, but you were going to lose that health anyway getting hit. Um,
I mean, let's be
the
totally honest though.
problem with that is,
Colossus's power was the best
Whoops, sorry.
one.
Shit.
Tom, why are you barking at me? Colossus's power was like the best power in that game.
yeah. Yeah, there's a whole convention called MagFest that
Oh
people
god.
like go around like shouting like they're Colossus doing the power up move. Like people are weird. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like when you're trying to play the game through and you just keep dying because you keep using your power, it's not that great. Like I'd rather play Turtles in Time or The Simpsons than that game.
That's true. I mean,
Yeah.
I just remember playing that game because it was number one that was like in the height of like X-Men cartoon era, and number two, it was like playing the game was very hard, required a bunch of quarters, but like I don't know, the challenge of playing the game, like I knew that using the power, whichever character you were playing, I knew that that was taking some of your health away by using that. So I felt like that was like there was a clear strategy of the game of like, oh, this is a special thing you only use for like bosses or if the screen gets like overloaded with guys, and that's when you use that. Otherwise, you gotta like rely on your pure button mashing skills. I don't know. To me, it was a very fun game. I could see, and I get your point, like as an adult going back to it and just being like, I spent $5 to get how far? But like as a kid that didn't understand what money was, and my parents just gave me some and said, go have
Yeah.
fun. Like that game was fantastic because I was like, what are quarters? I'm going to keep putting them in. And when I run out, I'm going to go back to them and be like, please give me more. So that was quite a
Yeah.
tangent.
So anyway, back in the episode, Sir Hubert Blunt, Dirk the Daring's rival, boasts about how amazing his present for the princess shall be, which she of course overhears. And Dirk and his squire Timothy tell her they're going to be going on a quest for the best gift ever. And Daphne, kind of ahead of her time for like damsels in distress, she actually wants to go on the quest with them, but they shoot her down because what would it be? A princess going on a quest for her own gift.
which
Yeah.
which is like a valid response, but at the same time, like he really shot her down because like he had no idea where he was going to go. It's not like they have a Zales down the street,
Yeah.
like he was just like, oh, I'm going to go on a quest, and then he was just like, shit, I gotta figure out where there's treasure.
You
Yeah,
know,
he legitimately had no clue.
Yeah.
yeah, Corey pointed out it did feel pretty progressive watching this a cartoon from the mid '80s where the princess says she wants to go on an adventure and she can do it, and I was like, oh wow, I thought this was going in a different direction. I thought it was going to be kind of empowering for her. And then, yeah, as soon as she shot down, I'm just like, oh yeah, that's
was-
right. It's an '80s cartoon.
That was the only glimpse of hope that you had of that. It was
Yeah.
Well, no, there's a glimmer later in the episode, which we'll get to.
Oh yeah, that's
Okay.
true. Yeah, she does. And in fact, that little glimmer that made me happy. I'm like, okay, yeah, she she's getting her chance. Okay. But yeah, I did feel pretty bad for her when they're just like, no, you can't go. No.
So this entire interaction that they're having is being overseen by Singe the Dragon and main antagonist of the series, who is spying on them via magic. Because, he's a dragon. He's chilling in his dragon horde. Very much reminiscent of... oh, wow, I can't remember the dragon's name. Smog, yeah. Like, it's just like, not quite like Smog's horde, but, this one's still impressive.
No, he's like Smog, but like quirkier. Just
he's like...
The way he talks
He, like,
and
has
stuff.
the, It reminded me of Mother Brain from Captain N.
He
Yeah.
gets
It's like the male version of Mother Brain.
He gets like a little squeaky when he's talking about stuff, and it's, I don't know, the inflection's off. I feel like the voice actor was trying to take some liberties there to just make him seem villainous, and it turned into like maybe that dragon had a stroke at some point. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, it was actually voice acted by Arthur Berghart. Did he do anything? Oh my god!
Huh?
This is only relevant to me. But he was the voice of Devastator in Transformers.
I don't.
Ah, I swear to God.
Well, let's watch.
If we ever do this podcast in person, I'm gonna end up hitting some of you guys.
No, you won't. Because if
Like,
we
how
do
did
this,
you?
if
We
do
share
this
the same goddamn body. How was I the only one watching Transformers when they should have been watching Transformers?
If
Keith was busy wiping, and I was busy playing with our dick.
Okay.
yeah, checks out.
Did you guys watch G.I. Joe? He played Destro in G.I. Joe. No?
I watched some G.I. Joe. It's just like my memory, man. It's
The Chrome Dome head?
I watched.
Villain?
I watched GI Joe a little bit, but I couldn't really. I didn't watch it all the time. It was just once in a while, so I didn't remember the voices.
yeah.
Except Cobra Commander, of course, because how do you not know that voice?
I don't.
No.
What?
Oh, God.
I'm like constantly purging memories from my past. My brain is full. I'm so goddamn smart that I have to purge all my personal memories to contain the knowledge in my smooth brain.
Your koala brain.
I don't know, man. That's my excuse. I'm sticking to it.
Yeah.
So let's go.
So Singe sends his goons to set up a trapped quest for the golden falcon that he has in his horde. In the next scene, the goons, I don't think they're named.
They are.
I know in general, they're called the Giddy Goons, but I don't know if these two in particular are named.
Oh,
they look a little bit different.
Yeah, I was thinking of Guinea Goons. I wasn't. They don't have individual names, but
What did you just say?
Yeah, Guinea Goons.
Giddy.
Oh.
I thought
giddy,
they said
like happy.
Honestly, I thought they said
not
Guinea.
like.
I thought
not
it was
like
racist.
Keith.
I thought it was racist. I was gonna point that out.
Oh, I thought you were being
No, these
racist.
are-
I'm like,
No,
Jesus,
These are
Keith.
actual.
Because they only
These
said
are
it
actual
twice.
villains from the game.
God damn. Well, it was one of those things where I was just like, Super Mario had Goombas, and I was like, Jesus, that was not great. So I thought this was like
Hold
an
on,
80s
hold
thing
on.
where.
So before Mario existed, there were Italians calling each other Goomba,
I don't know the timeline,
and it was
but
a
I know
thing.
that.
I feel like that's something that happened because of Mario Brothers.
Yeah, but why would they be like, oh wow, they call these things Goombas in Mario, and Italians look like those things? Like they look like little mushroom people? Like
Little dickheads.
yeah, well, jeez.
Great. There goes all our Italian listeners.
Damn it. Let's just please preserve the Irish ones, because me and Tom will be sorely disappointed if we lose all of our Irish listeners.
I don't know why they trust this.
Well,
I mean,
they slip the note to the squire, and the squire's just like, I gotta show this to
Tim.
Dirk.
yeah.
The
then-
squire's name
and, like-
is Tim.
You're right, he has a name.
He has a name.
Yeah,
It's Tim.
He like the further they get into this quest, the more he starts like questioning like, who gave me this? Why did I get this? But like they never like raise enough concern to
But he
actually do anything about it.
He does it in a way where he's just like he's like, man, I really wish I knew who gave me that note. Like, it's
Yeah.
not like he's not questioning like that it could be for nefarious reasons. He's just like, he's more so questioning it just like, I should I should send this person a handwritten thank you note. Like, that's what it kind of sounds like. I don't know. That was my interpretation. It was like, I wish I knew who gave me that so I can,
Thank them properly.
thank them for this giant solid gold bird that was probably worth more than their entire family's life.
All right, so at the cavern, which they set out for immediately, Dirk defeats some giddy
Giddy.
giddy goons by tricking them into running into the door, which I thought was a little whatever.
Slapstick.
I mean, you're wielding a sword. Like, are we really? You can't just fight them with the sword, but I guess maybe with like, what would it be, like cartoon regulations back then for violence? Like maybe you couldn't have too much sword fighting in your
Well,
cartoon.
Even like Dirk in part of the episode when he's fighting the giddy goons with his sword, he hits them and they just like poof into like
they just
smoke.
poof,
like
yeah.
there's no like carnage, I mean,
Yeah,
he
he
should
doesn't
Yeah.
run them through.
he should be lopping off limbs and
Well, that's what was so confusing. Like when they first interact with each other, where they see each other, was it they slam the door open or something and knock the two Italian goons down, and they're like unconscious, laying on the floor, and
Yeah.
like they just walk by them, and I was wondering, I'm like, you literally have a sword, you have your instrument of death strapped to your hip, you're a knight. Kill these guys.
No.
They're bad guys.
I figured it out. I have solved this mystery. It's all in his head. Because, I mean, how else would the bad guys just like poof disappear when you hit them? And then you don't really have
We're
to
not
hit
even there yet, Keith.
'em. Okay. Let's continue.
Yeah,
then.
spoilers,
Ahead of
Keith.
this. Yeah, Dirk goes on ahead to fall into a classic Dragon's Lair QuickTime event situation on a falling platform that slows ever so slightly when a ledge is coming up, which if you watched or played the original game, that's kind of something that happens a lot in the game.
Gives you just enough time to make your decision.
Yeah. He comes into a treasure room filled with valuables and the golden falcon, just as Singe planned. He definitely leaves everything else behind. That was definitely a decent amount of gold. Like, that was like...
Oh yeah, I noticed that
like,
right
your
away.
D&D party is going to be well equipped after that adventure.
Well, I mean, the quest was just for the gift for the princess. I mean, he was very one-track mind. Like, I need one thing. That's all I need. I only
Yeah.
need
Well, this
one
is
thing.
True.
It was foolish, because if I was him, I'd be like, okay, well, I'm down here. I might as well pick up her Christmas present too.
Oh, that'd be so smart.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's planning for the future there.
I mean, he could have
Yeah.
technically picked up like the next 10 years worth of presents, and then
Of course.
and then just
And
been
his
like,
retirement plan.
yeah, like I am done questing. Guess what? Every time somebody needs a gift, I'm just gonna reach into my closet of gold things that I found instead of going on a dangerous, life-threatening quest for a gift. Because apparently, when a princess has a birthday, you have to endanger yourself to get them something.
Not necessarily, which we'll find out later.
Well, you
Back
do
at
if you're
Princess
Dirk.
Daphne's... Well, you have to say you're going to.
Oh, that's true.
That's more impressive.
Otherwise, it doesn't count.
Yeah. Back at Princess Daphne's birthday celebration, while Dirk waits in line, a merchant offers him a songbird for a princess. Fit for a princess. Which he declines because he already has his golden falcon. Sir Hubert presents his gift to her, which is a large portrait of himself, which gives Dirk the Daring the giggles.
I mean, and the thing is that I hate that you guys pointed out that guy and me have some physical similarities, because I have never ever been like, you know what's a great gift for you? A picture of me, baby. Like, that is I mean, honestly, actually, Tom, look out for your birthday next year. Your gift might be a picture of me, but
Nice.
That would be great.
I would do it as a joke. I just actually, you know what, Tom? It's gonna be me. Oh no, I'm gonna spoil it right now because I'm probably not gonna remember to do it. It's gonna be me dressed as Jonathan Frakes in that picture that I got
God.
signed by him, but it's going to be a picture of me basically mirroring that signed by me. So you can hang them side by side.
See, you say that, Keith, but your birthday comes before mine, and I actually have the outfit, so...
God damn. So, this is going to be a thing.
So you guys are just going to cosplay as Riker at each other?
Yep.
Nice. The other
Nothing says I love you like cosplaying like Riker for someone.
Cosplaying like Riker just to get a glamour shot and sign it and then give it to your friend. Like,
man.
yeah.
Just have to, like, stop by a school photography day and just, like, photobomb it. Just like, can I just get a quick picture
Oh, man.
with this background?
I want laser beam background.
Yeah.
Calling
Oh,
it.
I know what I'm doing. I'm going to ask my brother when they're having picture day at the high school, because he teaches at high school. I'll be like, I'm going to ask the photographer if I could come in when the students are done just to get a professional picture taken of me, and I'll have myself dressed as William T. Riker. Sitting in front of the high school, portrait thing.
Oh man, you could even put like a trombone in the background or something.
Yes. Yes.
Anyway,
Yeah, so another interesting anecdote about Sir Hubert Blunt. Do you know who voices him?
no.
Mm-mm.
You fucking heathens.
After you say this
name
name
is going to come up.
After you say this name,
Alright.
I'm still not going to know who that is. We've discussed this. I do not know people. Cory's so
Peter
angry.
Cullen. Do you know
Who?
who Peter Cullen is?
Nope.
Sounds kind of familiar.
Optimus fucking Prime.
No.
Yes.
Wow.
If you listen, you could actually kind of hear it in his voice too, which I think is really interesting because he sounds kind of like Optimus Prime.
I'm gonna have
But
to watch
more
the
like a
episode
coward.
again now.
Yeah. The other weird thing is Peter Cullen also voices the horse,
Huh?
which like I don't remember the horse really saying anything, but like does that mean he's out there making horse whinnies and neighs and shit like that? That's
Absolutely.
really kind of weird.
That horse had no
It's like a
speaking
flashback to
lines.
David the Gnome.
Best show ever.
I mean, maybe a couple snorts, and yeah, that's. They, you know what it is? They left the mic on the whole time. They're like, hey, this guy, when he wasn't reading the lines, he sounded a little horse-like. Let's just use that for this horse, and we'll just give him credit and pay him for it. Okay, we're good. He like blew his nose a couple
Yeah, so
times. They're like, oh, you're a horse.
yeah, so because Dirk laughed at Sir Hubert's gift, he gets revenge by tripping him, causing him to basically throw the golden falcon as he falls, and it's caught by the king.
Which, like, if that falcon was solid gold, like it looks
Yeah,
like,
that would be a murder.
that falcon would be like 100 pounds. That'd be so fucking heavy. And he throws it, and the king catches it.
Yeah,
The
this would
king
be
is
treason.
strong as hell.
Right? Like, which, like, the king kind of, like, yells at him after the fact. Like,
Yeah. So the golden falcon, which now sits beside Princess Daphne, animates at Singe's command and kidnaps the princess to hold hostage for the surrender of the kingdom.
was it the kingdom or
So-
just the castle?
I think the kingdom, the whole
I
kingdom.
mean, it's kind of the same
Well,
thing.
yeah, it's true.
In like in shows like this, and like, I don't think there's a whole bunch of like little towns and like hamlets, you know.
Which, like, that's kind of fucked up, though, because, like, what if the king takes the princess on vacation somewhere? Some squatter could just, like, come and be like, oh, I'm king now, because I got the castle.
Well, if you look at like their armament, it's basically Dirk and like what, 4 other knights that are willing to fight.
That's
and then
true.
Sir Hubert, who slinks away the second things are actually going to get physical.
Well, I mean,
And Tim. Let's not forget Tim.
Yeah,
yeah, but, like,
but he's a squire. He's not a knight.
he's a squire.
Well,
I
yeah,
mean, he literally, he doesn't even have his own horse. He rides on Dirk's horse behind Dirk.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
I
like,
know.
you can't
It's
ride into battle holding somebody else, like, in a bear hug, trying not to fall off the horse. Like,
Keith, how many times have you ridden into battle?
that's a good question.
Well, next time I ride into battle, you can join me, but you're
I-
going to have to wrap your arms around me, and you'll see. You'll see
Okay.
it works.
All right,
It works.
We'll use your horse.
Yeah.
'Cause I don't have a horse.
Of course not, because you don't ride into battle often like I do.
Your horse is pretty fucking sweet too. It's a good horse.
Yeah. So what the fuck is going on? Oh my god. So Dirk, being responsible, takes up the task of rescuing the princess, and he says it would be safer for one night to brave the dragon's
Yeah,
lair.
because like a whole bunch of guys are like, "Yeah, we'll go," and he's like, "No, just me."
Makes sense.
It's kind of a little bit of a glory seeker, I guess.
Well, the thing is, the other guys, I'm kind of surprised because honestly, the other guys were kind of grumbly about it, but like nobody outright objected, but they were like, but like, I get that he's a glory seeker, but at the same time, like, number one, that's all your princess. Like all those guys, that's their princess. They would all want to go. And just because he was like, no, just me, because I can sneak, one man can sneak into that cave much better
Keith.
than a whole bunch of knights.
Keith, they can't all fit on the horse.
That's true. There's only one fucking
Yeah,
horse.
it's the one
There's only one
horse in the
horse.
kingdom.
You solved
Yeah.
it, Tom. There's
There
only
you go.
one horse in the whole fucking kingdom.
Yeah.
So, because like, it was a total dick move where he was like, no, king, just me. This is my, like, the thing is, he didn't know, like, he could have done it in like a Liam Neeson way, like a badass, like, no, this is my responsibility, or like a Batman, like,
I was just picturing Liam Neeson from Love Actually. I don't know why, but that's what I thought of. I'm like, that doesn't make sense.
see, I was picturing Liam Neeson like calling up the dragon on a phone, going, "I have skills," but it just seemed kind of weird because then the king was like wishy-washy about it, and he was just like, "Just you, yeah, like whatever. Like it's only my daughter. It's only the future generation of this kingdom. Yeah, you know what? Let's just send one guy. Go for it.
We're gonna send the guy who fucked this up anyhow.
Like, maybe the king's
Yeah.
point of view is like, okay, we have 24 hours. Let's send him, wait 2 hours, and then send everybody else we have. Because that guy just wanted to go first.
Yeah, so he ends up heading out, and we actually get to what I think is one of the more interesting parts of these episodes, or I guess of this show, is before commercial break, they'll present you with a kind of a choose your own adventure situation, kind of like the games did, or the game did. And he's confronted with some more giddy goons. Giddy. I'm like super trying to say it because I'm so congested right now
Oh,
that
yeah.
I'm like not sure if I'm saying it right. Giddy.
Yeah.
Like happy.
Yeah.
Not the
Yeah.
racist thing that Keith said.
Yeah, Italian goons.
Or mudmen that are also running at him from, I guess, a different direction.
I'm sure
So
that's a
the way it
slur
would
for
work
some
out-
other culture.
Oh God, probably. Probably.
Just,
oh
Mudmen,
man.
we're sorry.
yeah. Sorry, Mudman. You're cool.
Yeah.
Keep listening, Mudman.
Unless you kill Dirk.
So basically, the watchers back then would have their whole commercial break to be like, oh, I'd go and fight the Mudmen. Oh, I'd go and fight the Giddy Goons. And, you know, when they come back, they show you what would happen if you chose the wrong thing, and then they show you what actually happens because he, you know, would die otherwise. So if you chose the Mudmen, you would have got swallowed up and presumably killed. There was a lot more death in the game.
Well, it was like assumed death. It was like, well, this is what would have happened. And it's like he gets buried in mud and you see his hand like reach out and then sink back into the mud. And you're like
Well, yeah,
all-
but in the game, like, he's just dead.
It was a little more.
Like, that's
Yeah,
what
it was
the
a little
death-
more graphic in
Oh,
the game
I know,
too.
I know. It's
Yeah.
it's like an assumptive thing though with the TV show. It's like, okay, he died, but like a little kid is not gonna necessarily like if you're 4 years old or 6 years old and you're watching that, you're not necessarily gonna be like, oh, he's dead. You're just gonna be like, oh, like he's in mud and
He's
that-
having a bad time.
yeah, right. Like
So after making the Giddy Goons go poof, as Keith said before, it's that the next scene is now nighttime and I believe the rain, and they come across the tavern, which I felt like this whole scene was like unnecessary filler
yeah,
because I was like trying to think like, what did this do? He basically consults some blue Jawas.
checks out.
That's the best thing I could think to call them because they're basically just like, you know, like in blue robes with no faces or whatever, and they basically gibberish at him to direct him to continue following the path to get to Singe's castle, which you would think he would already know how to get to, but that's whatever. And then one of the better scenes, we cut to the castle and Daphne is shit-talking this dragon.
Yes, she is.
Just like, why don't you give me a fair fight and fight me one-on-one? And he ends up putting her in a glass jar, basically.
Well, the thing is, she says that, and then he immediately like picks her up with his tail, and she's like, put me down!" And like, it's just like, girl, like you just asked for a fair fight, and he could literally just like restrain you with his tail. Like you're not fighting this dragon. Like, appreciate the effort, but like understand the situation, please. Like, just not doing anything.
Yeah, so we cut back to Dirk, who is at the beginning of the lair, and holy shit, he doesn't have to go through a whole lot to get to Daphne because I in my mind, because I had watched the playthrough of the game like immediately after watching the episode, I was thinking like, wow, he went through so much to get to her, but that's only in the game. In the show, he literally just rides the Phantom Horse, which if you haven't seen the gameplay, you'd think like, wow, this is really weird and out of place. But it's just like, oh, well, it's from the game, so they put it here. And it's basically
Well,
this horse that he just randomly decides to get on
That,
that
I
brings
think
him to like the next area.
well, the thing is, does it zoom around in the game? Does it zoom around and have
Yeah.
you like you have to time?
You have to
like, when you're
dodge
getting off
things
of it?
and
yeah. So like that makes more sense because like ultimately in the show he gets on it and you're just like, he had a fucking horse right
he had an
behind
actual
him.
horse.
the only horse.
Yeah, the only
Yes.
horse in the kingdom. And,
Yeah.
and
He
he's
got
like,
excited because he found the second horse.
well, that's the thing is,
Right.
the Phantom Horse. He's just like, a second horse. I gotta sit on this, because that's apparently the first thought that comes to mind when you find a phantom horse when you've only ever seen one other horse.
I'm surprised Squire Tim didn't rush to that horse instead, just to think like, oh, I don't have to ride bitch anymore.
That's true. Well, no,
Yeah.
because Dirk gets first dibs because he's a knight. He's not a squire. So Dirk got first dibs. He was like, "Oh, fucking phantom horse. That's like getting upgraded to like a supercar." So he's like,
Yeah.
I got phantom horse. You got old horse. And then as soon as he got on the
Well, no,
phantom
no.
horse, he was like,
So
This
that's
shit's whack.
disrespectful. That's disrespectful. If my horse is voiced by Peter Cullen, I'm not upgrading. There is no upgrading.
"Yeah, but how fast is that horse?"
Doesn't matter. It's voiced by goddamn Optimus Prime.
Yeah, but does the horse transform?
You don't know. This is only episode 1.
It's true.
Well, I was going to say, if the horse transforms, then you definitely stay on that horse because that's awesome.
Well, not while it's transforming. That might break some bones.
That's a little dangerous. It's
Yeah,
not recommended.
That's
Well, yes, that's true. Yeah.
yeah. Get off the
point.
horse, let it transform, and then. Well, I was gonna say get back on
Then
it. but
drive
you,
it.
You got to see what it is after it transforms. Because I mean, what if it?
Yeah, what does a horse transform into?
A man.
Honestly, the first thought was a bigger horse.
That is awesome.
my imagination exceeds all expectations.
Oh, I have a great idea for a toy now. I want to sell it to
Oh,
like
no.
a toy manufacturer. A
Mattel.
horse that
So-
transforms into a bigger horse.
So, with you guys not knowing Transformers at all, as an outsider looking in, is it weird that the main villain in Transformers is a giant robot who transforms into a small gun?
Yeah,
And
if he
is somehow
transformed
more powerful as a small gun.
if he
being
transformed
wielded by
into a
someone else.
bigger robot, it would make sense.
I feel like they were trying to make like a literary like statement there, being like, oh, the most powerful weapon is not like the weapon is powerful, but it matters like it's extra devastating if somebody bad is wielding it, and I feel like that's like the premise behind that concept of like being like, oh, the bad guy is way more dangerous as this small gun, but ultimately somebody else has to wield it. It's you know what I'm saying? It's like a I don't
I don't know, I just think it's weird.
I'm not an English
weird.
major. I'm not an English major, but I feel like there's a word for this that I just do not have in my vocabulary, but it's trying to like reference the point of like the most dangerous thing is the most dangerous thing when it's wielded by the most dangerous people.
Profound.
Yeah. Well, it's like nuclear bombs. They're not dangerous if they're not launched. Like they're totally they're a thing. They have the capability to do mass destruction, but if you never use them, then how dangerous are they? Versus if you have a
very dangerous.
madman that's just like, I will use these at the drop of a hat, yeah, now they're really fucking dangerous. It's like the the escalating factor of like whether or not you're using the dangerous weapon.
It's always interesting when Keith starts digging deeper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know that I have the power to save him, and I just choose not to.
Yeah, I know. I
In
eventually
real time and in editing. So.
I eventually hit the bottom of my own consciousness, and then I look up and go, "Oh shit, you guys are way up there, huh?" Okay, I'm the only one down here. I guess I'll stop talking now.
Yeah, Keith, you're always so busy digging holes for yourself. You never have time to ride horses with me.
I never have time to bury all the bodies that I dig the holes for. I know. Always digging holes and never burying the bodies.
Yep.
Yeah, so Dirk is back, and he's about to have a pretty close encounter with a hentai tentacle monster. And he gets another choose-your-own-adventure moment when they went to commercial break. Mm-hmm. Go over a rickety bridge, swing on a burning rope, or some third option, which was not mentioned.
No, this one was fucked up because it was like, is he gonna do this? He'd die. Is he gonna do that? He'd die. Well, what is he gonna do then? And you're just like, it's like they don't even give you the third option. It's like, it's like, let me just give you the options of death, and then like pause for a second, and then be like, JK, he survives.
Yeah, so he pole vaults over the chasm, goes into, oh, surprise, the Dragon's Horde room. That was a really quick, run through Dragon's Lair on the arcade. Just like 2 screens, basically. A fight ensues as Daphne exclaims that the key is on the dragon's neck. He does some Scrooge McDuck swimming through the gold. And at some point, I guess, swipes the key. I guess Singe decided to stick his head in the gold also.
I was to say, it's all about technique when you swim through gold coins.
Yeah.
You know,
It's mostly form.
If
you get the form down,
exactly,
like, the rest is just going to fall into place.
Yeah, if you try to brute force it, it doesn't work. It's really technique and form, and that's how you get through swimming through the gold coin. It takes a billionaire's practice, which really kind of puts a hole in Dirk's story. How does he know how to do that?
Well, you have to figure he left behind all that gold.
Exactly.
At the last quest.
Oh.
He doesn't even need to pick it up anymore. He's balling uncontrollably.
Wait, so hold on. Then why did he need to go on this quest to get her a gift if he's already a billionaire? He could have gotten the gold falcon from his own horde.
So, if we're looking at the mannerisms of Princess Daphne and Dirk the Daring, it's kind of like an odd situation where she is obviously totally into him. Mm-hmm. Like, he doesn't need to get her some amazing, ridiculous gift. He, on the other hand, other than, like, in situations like Doug, like, he's after her, but he doesn't realize that she's into him.
Well, hold
kind
on.
of thing, probably.
Hold on. But is he? Let me turn this on his head. What's the other guy's name? Hubert?
Tim.
No. Tim's the Squire.
Hubert.
Don't forget about Tim.
Hubert Blunt.
Yes.
So he is the competition, but at the same time, I'm going to turn this on its head. Dirk is trying to impress Hubert. He's not trying to impress the princess. Because Hubert has the best gift at the beginning of the episode. He already called it out. He said he has the best gift, whatever.
Yeah, picture
and then Dirk afterwards is like, no, I'm gonna go on a quest. I'm gonna get the best gift. And like clearly does not care about the princess at all. He's trying to impress Hubert.
I would normally say checks out here, but I don't think it checks out.
Yeah, I don't either because my theory is he actually um, is looking to be in was it a polyamorous relationship with Tim and Daphne, which
And,
is he. I think he pretty much achieves his goal or what he wanted by the end. Well, we haven't got there yet, so
okay,
that's why I'll
sorry.
go into
Yeah,
my
we're
theory
almost
once
there.
we.
Cory, you continue, and we'll all weigh in at the end of this on what the love rhombosoid looks like.
Yeah, so he ends up getting the key, releases Daphne from her glass cage, glass sphere, whatever you want to call it. And Singe shoots his fire blast, his flamethrower attack. And it reflects off the cage and back at his feet and melts the gold and gets him into a sticky mess where he's stuck
I gotta say,
for
the
like
name
5 seconds.
the name Singe for a dragon is very underwhelming. Like they did that on
Yeah.
purpose.
I don't know, I think it's a pretty classic name.
Singe? Singe is like, oh, like I almost got burned.
Yeah, what if he was named Inferno?
Oh.
Yeah, that's much more impressive and
Well, then he'd be a very cool Predacon transformer that was a fire ant with a flamethrower.
Everything always goes back to Transform. Like we should do an
You're
episode. on how
goddamn
many
right
things-
it does.
How many things tie back to Transformers? We should look
Do
up.
you know how many
Transformers.
weeks? Once I swear to you guys, once we're in the flow of things, every single time it's my turn.
Well,
Every single
no,
time it's gonna be something.
maybe we should change this whole thing.
We're gonna watch
where-
them in Japanese.
No,
We're gonna watch them in English. We're gonna watch Beast Wars. We're gonna watch Beast Machines.
I
Probably
love
not
Beast
Beast
Wars.
Machines.
and there's plenty of cool.
Yeah, so they escape over over Singe's stuck body once he busts through the wall and over the chasm that Dirk had to pole vault over. And once they're out of the castle, he's still in pursuit, but Daphne has an idea. For some reason, they have one piece of Stonehenge.
yeah, that was weird.
No, she
near
called
the
it.
path.
She called it like stone art or some bullshit. She was like,
A
"Oh,
stone arch.
This a stone arch or was it
Yes.
stone art?" I thought it was stone art.
Stone Italian.
No.
It was one of those things that was just like I was like, wait, is this a piece of art? Like what is going on here? Sorry, I apparently just had my ears turned off for a couple portions of or maybe the entire episode where I just misheard so many things.
Oh my god.
But like I thought she
not
was
ready
like,
for
"Oh, don't worry, let's go on the other side of this stone art." And I was like, Stonehenge, this historic monument that nobody understands how it got there. You're just gonna be like, "Yeah, that's art right there. There you go." Didn't have a purpose.
Yeah. Yeah, so Singe ends up getting stuck in it because of course he does. And they're free to return back to the kingdom and continue celebrating her birthday. Dirk decides to buy the songbird from that merchant that had offered it to him before. Princess Daphne is perfectly happy and gives him a kiss. And that is the end of the episode.
Yay.
So, how many Princess Daphnes from the video game would you give this out of 10? Because she was a lot hotter. I'll go first, I guess. I would give her 6 Princess Daphnes from the video game.
I
Because I was not sure what to expect quality-wise from this, and I actually enjoyed it quite a bit. Um, it's only 13 episodes. Will I watch any more of it? I'm not sure. I feel like this first episode was a great uh, adaptation of the game, and aside from them changing Princess Daphne's character model to be something a little bit more appropriate for a children's cartoon, they absolutely knocked it out of the park with the look of Dirk and all the other characters. I do prefer the Don Bluth animation of the game, but yeah, I'd say a 6 Princess Daphne's from the video game out of 10 for me.
So I feel like because I have zero nostalgia to this show or game. Um, I'm gonna give it a 5. So a little bit lower than yours, but I'm giving it still a 5. And honestly, I want to kind of give it lower just because it's story wise, it's just kind of lackluster. But what I really appreciate about it is the couple periods in the episode there where they go, "Oh, what is he gonna do? Is he gonna do this? Is he gonna do that? Like, what should?" And they play out multiple scenarios of what he could have done, and that's like the first. This show is probably one of the first iterations of that in a show of the choose your own adventure storyline, which obviously like there were books and comics that did that, but this is probably one of the earliest shows that executed on that. And granted, they didn't do like a you were actually choosing it because the show was just showing you other possible avenues that were resulting in death. But I thought that was at the time probably a pretty revolutionary idea. So I'm gonna give it a 5 purely because of that. I'm just not, unfortunately, I'm not really psyched about the show, and I don't have any nostalgia about it. And I thought that, I don't know.
Well, I am glad you two guys went first because honestly, before Corey even said what he gave it, I was thinking, I don't know, either I'm giving it a 5 or a 6, and then listening to the two of you talk, uh, for all the same reasons, like Corey said, for all the same reasons, I'm gonna give it a 6. Um, I was going to give it a 5 because it felt toned down compared to the video game, because they were gearing it more towards kids, where the video game was meant for, I suppose, older kids, like
Like teenagers.
teenagers. Yeah, yeah. So I was a little disappointed. Like the death scenes from the video game were a lot more graphic, and I remember like when you got killed. I remember once dying and he turned into a skeleton because I like touched something that like tore all the flesh off me. So
Yeah.
yeah, I so I was a little disappointed that it wasn't completely like the video game, but the animation's solid, and the story is a little lackluster, and there were a couple plot holes, like for instance, this dragon, his whole plan, he spies on Dirk to come up with a plan to kidnap the princess to then ransom for the kingdom. It's like, you're a powerful dragon, just go breathe fire on the king. Like, I don't know. It just seemed a little convoluted, the plan. But anyhow, I'm gonna go with 6 video game Princess Daphne's. 6, yes.
All right. That's a
Yeah.
pretty decent score for a cartoon not heard of,
Yeah.
before this week. So
From 1984, that was based on a video game.
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, they just banged out a quick 13 episode series, and that's all it got. Because
Yeah.
maybe that's all it was worth. Who knows?
Well, yeah. I mean, they probably exhausted the video game material and was just like, okay, well, that's a wrap.
Just like this is a wrap. We'd like to thank you for taking the time out of your day to listen to three guys ramble about cartoons. If you'd like to ramble about our ramblings, or what we rambled about, you can join the Cartoon Commentary Podcast group on Facebook. If you have any questions, comments, or corrections for us, you can reach us at cartooncommentary.podcast@gmail.com. And until all are one, I've been Cory.
I've been Tom.
And I'm supposedly Keith.
Bye-bye.
Right?
Bye.
Dick.